child's leg. When everything seemed to have settled down, I went down. I said, "What happened?" And James said, "Bee sting." The child had a bee sting. They weren't looking for me. They knew exactly what to do. James had run inside and he'd mixed up the charcoal in a little paste and he'd put it on the bee sting. And that's when I realized, without even taking the effort or concentrating on teaching my children, just living this life was teaching the children. They're all grown today, and when they were teenagers, they'd often ring me, Mum, my mate's sick. What should I do for this?" They'd often ring me. And probably one day, it was when my youngest was 4. So my youngest of the 6 children was 4. I was praying my usual prayer, "Father, what would you have me do?" And I got a strong impression in my mind to give meetings. You see, all my girlfriends used to watch what I do, and they say, "You don't go to the doctor and your children are wrapped up in poultices. Tell us about it." So I'd tell them. But when a crisis came, fear would come in and they weren't sure what to do, so they would go to the doctor and get the drugs. And so God impressed me, give meetings. Give meetings to show how to do the natural remedies. I was excited that God had given me that impression. It was confirming some of the things that were growing in my mind about giving meetings. That morning, I went to read the children. We always read the Bible every morning, and I'd also been reading through the writings of Ellen White. And I was up to a certain place, and as I began to read, this is exactly what I read. Meetings need to be given to teach the people how to do natural remedies. I stopped reading and I looked at the children and I said, "I can't believe what I'm reading. God has just given me an impression in prayer and now we're reading it." We were all excited. I went to church and I said to the little church that we're going into, "God's impressed me to give meetings." Now everyone in church knew that I treated the children naturally, especially when they saw them wrapped up with poultices sometimes. The retired pastor he's there, he said, "Great, let's do afternoon meetings." I said, "Just wait a minute, I need to put a plan together." I said, "Give me a few months." So I went home and I got my nurse's anatomy and physiology books out. I decided to do 2 meetings demonstrating water treatments, 1 meeting on demonstrating poultices, another meeting on herbs, and these would basically be weeds out of the garden and what they were good for. I had a wonderful testimony on the plantain, so I potted the plantain so I could show them. And the 6 meetings, so 2 on water therapies, 1 on poultices, 1 on herbs, the next one on the 8 laws of health, which I had been reading about, and the last one was on food. And so we advertised in this little country town. We had our church membership was about 40. And then the time came for the meetings. And I demonstrated on the children. They were used to being demonstrated on. And we got about 30 people to the meetings, which was quite a lot for such a little country town. And every week I demonstrated on the children. And what I found was it really touched the people's heart, especially when I'm demonstrating on the little ones. And again, the little ones were used to it, and the little ones would sit there and smile. They were very happy to have everyone looking at them. When I finished the meetings, there were people who were now interested in Seventh-day Adventism because they'd heard the natural remedies. And I have read that this health message is the right arm of the gospel. It's the entering wedge, and I began to see that with my own eyes. It was a year later, we did the meetings again, and we got even more people that time. At home, I'm busily schooling my children and applying the natural remedies if necessary. The people that lived in the local town, even though we were out in the rainforest, they coined me, or they gave me the nickname Earth Mother. That's what they called me, because if a child was sick, then they would ring and I could help them know what to do. As I look back, I see God was training me, because I'm naturally very shy, but I have, what's even stronger than my shyness is a desire to help people to get victory in their lives, to help people to know how to give their bodies the conditions for healing.